I just really hope that, Tori's not buying into it. She keeps saying she's not a fool, but use your brain. I know it's brainwashed, but you can surely use what's left of it that isn't mind controlled by Jack. You can use that to make.
If delusional was a person, Tori's face would be right next to it. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Because the fact that she got excited at the idea of Jack saying, oh, I want to have children with Tori in about 2 years. And it's like, what has he done to show you that he's attracted to you? Please sit down somewhere and keep quiet. And Lauren, I stand Lauren. Lauren is my girl. The fact that she was reading Jack fulfilled, I think Jonah is the one who had to sort of recenter her and say, we can't ask those questions. But hey, it is what it is. And then Jaden and Eden, oh my God, I knew it was going to be fire. It was going to be fire the moment that they were assigned to sit down with Sarah and Tim. And I am here for Lucinda and Timothy. Oh my God, I love them. Anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia, Season 11, Episode 26. Okay, I think yesterday somebody wrote in the comments, and I thought I'd answer it before I continue with my review. My thing is this. I hope my comment made sense. My thing is this. I don't dispute Eden telling Sarah to sort of confess her sins to Tim. No, my issue is Sarah is responsible for her actions. She needed to confess, and she needed to own up to what she did, and she needed to apologize sincerely to her husband and take responsibility for that. My thing is with Eden and Jaden, the way they approached it, I didn't like it, because it became their storyline for the past sort of last week and this week. That's all we've heard about them. Nothing else about them as a couple, but this thing with Sarah. They made it about themselves. They sort of focused on their anger and how their sense of betrayal and how they felt the last time they were cheated on, and took that to Sarah. Instead of saying to Sarah, even if they were going to, I feel like when Sarah sent Eden the message, Eden should have sat her down and said, Sarah, I'm not going to take part in this lie. I need you to go back and tell Tim. Otherwise, if you don't, then I'll have to tell Tim and I'll have to tell Jaden. That's where I stand. But instead, they sat her down with Tim, then told her, tell Tim or else we're going to tell him ourselves. When Sarah was sort of, eventually it came out. And instead of asking Tim or waiting for Tim to say what he felt or how he felt in the moment, they started sort of holding her to account. And it's like, this has nothing to do with you. All you needed to do was just bring it out and then take a step back and allow them to deal with it. But you've made it more about yourself than the couple that are in dispute. That's my issue. Because even in this episode, they're talking about, oh, we're very close together. This has brought us close together. This was going to bring us apart. But now we have a sense of, being united. And it's like, what is uniting the two of you outside of the Sarah incident? What is sort of brought this growth upon the two of you outside of the Sarah incident? Can you explain? Because I don't know if anyone else can tell me if they've heard anything else about Eden and Jaden outside of the Sarah issue or the issue with her brother. That's all we seem to know. And the fact that his girlfriend cheated on him and then he slept with his girlfriend's friend. That's all we know about them as a couple. Nothing else. That's all we know. Unless I've missed anything. Anyway, you have Tim and Lucinda. They're in a happy place. Tim and Lucinda, you can actually see their growth as compared to Jaden and Eden. So I don't get why Jaden and Eden think they're the number one couple. In my opinion, it's Tim and Lucinda, in the sense that Tim had his walls up and Lucinda gently and patiently was able to help him crack those walls. And sort of, you see them coming down. You see how emotional he is when he looks at Lucinda. He keeps going, oh, you were amazing yesterday. You were amazing. You were this. He's appreciative of the fact that she's been able to help him offload a big load that he's been carrying for years, if not for months. So the fact that she's done that for him, you can see that he appreciates that greatly. And she is just there. She's not taking responsibility. She's not pounding her chest and saying, if not for me, Tim wouldn't have had this breakthrough. No, she's saying he had a breakthrough, which is what I mean in regards Eden and Jaden, that they should have allowed Tim to speak his truth. They should have allowed Tim to express his emotions, but no, they had to be in the mix. Whereas Lucinda is happy to take a step back and just sort of celebrate this man and what he's going through. I don't know. Tristan and Cass, it's sad. It really is sad that they were both matched with a great person, but they seem to not understand each other, and they only seem to understand each other when there's somebody there to sort of explain what the other person is saying. This is why I always advocated that if they're going to stay together, then they need to go to couples therapy for quite a while until they learn to sort of listen and understand what the other person is saying. So I get that they're feeling some type of way, especially with the fact that Cassandra wrote leave. She needed to. She needed to. It was the wake-up call that Tristan needed. And the experts telling him that he's losing her. I think he is realizing that I might actually lose an amazing girl. And I hope he catches on before it's too late. You have everyone talking about Jack. What do I think? I said this in my last review and the review before that I think the only reason why Tori is feeling some type of way is because now this is now sort of attached to Jack in a personal way, whereas some of his comments, they could sort of get away with them and say, oh, he was angered, or he doesn't believe that, he just said it was just a spur of the moment thing. Whereas the whale comment is supposed to be who he is as a person, because he's a personal trainer, so he should have certain things that he believes. He believes in motivating people, he believes in empowering people, he believes in forcing or sort of uplifting people. And so the fact that he called someone a whale, it doesn't sort of align with his career path. And you have Tim speaking about himself. He reinforced what I said, that Tim didn't get an opportunity to speak his mind. He didn't get an opportunity to speak his truth. It was Sarah defending herself and Jaden and Eden talking about how they felt because Sarah cheated. Not how Tim felt about Sarah cheating, how they felt. And so I give him credit for writing down, what he wants her to do or what he wants to hear. It's a pity he seems to like a type of woman that is sort of more outspoken or more vocal or whatever else you want. So it's sad that he can't stand up to it. Maybe he needs someone who's a bit mellow like himself. Okay, I stand Lauren. I love Lauren. For me, there's nothing I love that someone who speaks their mind and who's not afraid of saying the truth. Yes, she does say it. She's not disrespectful. She just does it in a probing manner that sort of makes you feel uncomfortable, because she says the things that people are thinking but don't want to say out loud. So they get a letter to say it's feedback week, and couples will be giving each other feedback, and the producers are messy because they have Tori and Jack sit down with Lauren and Jono, and it's just like, why? Why? Because we all know Lauren doesn't like Jack, and we know Jack doesn't like Lauren. So sadly, this is uncomfortable for both Tori and Jono, because they are just there to witness these two bulls. This is what it looks like when you say two alphas are meeting, because you have a big personality with a big personality. Not what Tori was telling us, that she's an alpha. She's not an alpha. Lauren is an alpha. So Lauren, the questions that she was asking, because they were supposed to ask 5 questions. How do you feel about looking purple? Well, how do you feel about not knowing your clothes size? And it's just like, oh my god, I can't wait. Jack, in the meantime, is pooping his pants because he doesn't want to sit down with Lauren, because he knows Lauren is not going to put up with his BS. And so he's trying to find ways of sort of not doing it, because he actually said, I'm not doing it. And I think the producers told him, you are. You cannot say you're not doing it. So I can't wait to hear the questions that they bring, because Jono looked very uncomfortable. So the first couples to have a sit down and sort of give each other feedback are Tori and Jack with Lauren and Jono. And Tori is sort of saying, oh, can we just have it out in the hallway? I don't want them to come in. And it's like, oh, please sit down. You're not that important. I feel like all the questions they asked were very important. They were not messy, but they were very important. And to someone with common sense and someone who's open-minded, they would have given you the answers that you needed. But sadly for Tori, she's so brainwashed. She's so, there with Jack that she'll accept anything he says. And so even Lauren said, I know you're brainwashed, but use the remaining brain cells that have not been washed to sort of think and realize that this man is telling you what what you want to hear. The fact that, oh, yes, I see us having sex before the end of the experiment. Yes, I see us having children in 2 years. No, that's what Tori wants. And so he's going to tell Tori what she wants to hear. For him to say, don't answer about me being a role model, I think he didn't want her to say anything else that he thought would damage his character, because he's already had everything listed out and it looks terrible. So if Tori were to say he's a role model, then that would affect her, because then people would say, how can you say he's an ideal role model for your children given the way that he's behaved? The fact that she's excited that he says he wants to have children in 2 years doesn't make sense to me. He's not attracted enough to you to have sex, but he's attracted enough to have children. Okay. If that's what works for you, it's a pity. She's going to see how foolish she looks when she watches herself back on TV, because it's really bad. It's not a good look at all. It's terrible. It really is terrible. And I give credit to Jono and Lauren, because they didn't ask questions about that sort of involved them, but they asked questions that someone in a relationship would want to know about their partner. And sadly, the person they were asking for doesn't have the common sense to sort of stop and think and realize that this is not maybe ideal for me. So you have Lucinda and Timothy. They are going to receive a task from Richard and Andy, and it's the cutest thing ever. I thought Richard and Andy were going to be assigned Ridge and Jade. Surprisingly, they're assigned Lucinda and Timothy. And I think Timothy, his breakthrough has really made a lot of people open up and warm up to him. I think this Mavs family is going to be his family for the rest of his life. He doesn't have to worry about them ever sort of abandoning him, because I think he's grown on a lot of them. So they have this conversation, Andy and Richie, and they're sort of talking about Lucinda and Timothy and how they had a breakthrough at the retreat, and how they seem to be growing. And you have Andy actually acknowledge that Lucinda is one of the most patient people she knows, because nobody else would have had the patience to sort of wait around for Timothy to discover himself and realize that actually this is a good thing for him. So they decide to assign them a task, because Andy lets it be known that they don't share the same bedroom, which Timothy is still sleeping in his man cave, and so they give them the task that share the bed. And to hear for the first time Timothy say, as long as Lou is happy, I'm happy to go along with it. We'll give the bed sharing thing a go and see how it works out, because as long as Lou is happy, I'll be happy. And it's like, oh my God, he's thinking of somebody else's feelings before himself. Even when he was saying at the dinner party, I want to raise hell, with Jack, and I want to drag him across the table, Lucinda said metaphorically, and he said, yes, metaphorically. So he's now very concerned about Lucinda. She's grown on him to the extent that before he does anything or he says something, he has to think of, whatever I'm doing or whatever I'm saying, how does it affect Lucinda? To see them in bed, and the fact that he actually hugged her without her sort of asking him to say, I need a hug, that was amazing. And she told him, I only need a hug before I go to sleep and when I wake up in the morning. Otherwise, at night, I'm happy to do my own thing. He says he's usually used to doing his own thing. And they're sort of whispering, and she's asking him, are you comfortable? It's like the producers are messy. Allow these people to sort of try and continue to build on this connection. They're doing amazing, and I love it for them. The producers are messy. The fact that they have Tori still talking about, Jack said he wants to have children in 2 weeks. I'm a planner. I need to plan. And it's like, please, why don't you start by having sex with him first? And then you can plan on having kids, on whatever else you're going to do. Or why don't you allow him to show you that he's more attracted to you than just being platonic friends? Maybe start from there. And the producers are messy, because they asked her, do you think Jack feels the same way you do? And she went, I hope so. And it's like, well, why are you talking about children if you're not sure how he feels about you? Why not wait until you're 100% sure that he feels the same way before you start making plans on children and everything else? Because you might look like an idiot, and this is how you're looking on TV. Because you said, I don't want to look stupid on TV. Well, you're looking like an idiot. And then you have Lucinda and Timothy in the morning. Timothy is ecstatic. He says he slept like a baby. Lucinda has been good for him. If anyone lucked out, it was him and Tristan. And I've said this before. And the fact that he ran to sort of remove his sign to say man cave and to take his pillow to say, I'm done with this room was amazing. I think he's realized. I think Lucinda is going to be in Timothy's life for the rest of his life. Even if they're not in a romantic sense, they're going to be friends for life because they've created this bond. I hope he realizes that she means more to him, or she could do more good in his life than anything else. And I hope they are able to help nurture this relationship. The fact that Lucinda was very grateful to Andy and Richie was amazing, and I can't wait for them to sort of meet up and give them feedback on how it went. This is something that is good because thus far everything that's been asked has been things that are meant to help the couples grow. Regardless of how Lauren felt about Jack, she was able to help Tori. Even though it might have backfired because Tori only heard what she wanted to hear, she didn't hear the truth in everything else Jack was saying or was not saying. So next up is Jaden and Eden. They receive a letter to say that they have to give feedback to Sarah and Tim. And for me, this is exactly what I've just said, in the sense that they are projecting their feelings onto this situation with Sarah and Timothy. And for Jaden to say, oh no, I'm not projecting. Yes, you are projecting, in the sense that you're more worried about how you feel or how you think Timothy feels. Instead of sitting down with Timothy, you say he's your friend, sit him down, ask him, how do you feel about the situation? What do you want to know? What do you want me to ask her? And then make your move from there. Instead of you focusing on, oh, she cheated, Eden and I have been cheated on the past, so, this is a trigger for us. Yes, it's a trigger, but at the same time, be man enough or be mature enough to sort of take yourself away from the situation and focus it more on the person that has been affected by this behavior. Because how does Tim feel? What does he want to ask Sarah that he himself cannot ask her? Or what has he expressed to you that is important to him? So I can't wait to hear their questions. Sarah, in the meantime, is still trying to butter up Timothy, still trying to make him feel valued when we all know that she's wrong. She's trying to tell him what she feels he needs to hear in order to stay in this marriage. And I can't wait for them to sit down with Eden and Jaden and hear what happens, because Timothy is a good guy. He says he's non-confrontational, so he's not going to say or do anything that is going to provoke a negative response. He already says he's worried about, a bad reaction, so I can't wait. Jaden came in hot. And I think at times when you look at these couples, that's when you realize who, if they were matched with whom, would have created a lot of drama. Because I think if Jaden had been matched with Sarah, oh my God, they would have set that sky, whatever, living space on fire, because his questions were out for blood. He wasn't messing about. And for Sarah to become defensive doesn't make sense. She's already been told by Tim that I don't want you to be defensive. I want you to listen when I speak or when someone speaks to you and actually hear what they're saying instead of already thinking of a response of how you're going to defend yourself. The main things that stood out to me was they asked her about her phone, because in the initial phone challenge, she refused to swap phones with Tim. So she was asked, do you still have the messages that you're swapping with your ex? And she sort of danced around it, and they kept pinning her to the wall until eventually she said, well, I did text my ex, but I deleted them. Because at first she said, no, I haven't texted him. And they were like, but when you met up with him, you would have needed to communicate in order to meet up. And she went, well, yes, I did, and I deleted them. Do you think if you hadn't deleted them, Tim would be okay with them? This is why she was now throwing a tantrum, because with Timothy, she knows that he's a very sweet guy. Tim is very patient, he's very empathetic, he's very compassionate. So when he sees that, she's been pushed to the wall and she can't take anymore, he will retreat and sort of take a step back and allow her to regroup. Whereas with Jaden and Eden, they were out for blood. They were not messing about. And they actually said, we're going to pin her to the wall. And so for her to then be upset and throw a fit and leave the room I don't get it. I really don't get it, and I don't understand why she felt the need to do all those theatrics. At the end of the day, she needed to own up. I said it yesterday. I made an apology for her. She just needed to copy and paste. Because now you can see that there's a lot more to this sort of meetup with her ex than she's making it out to be. I feel like from the way she behaved, it seems like they're still texting with her ex. It's still like, it feels like they're sort of a hookup from time to time. When the ex wants a bit of her, he comes to town, he meets up with her, they sleep, and then he goes back to his girlfriend, and so on and so on. And sadly, she can't untangle herself from that guy for some apparent reason. She's been matched with a great guy, a guy who's very sweet, he's very caring, he's very empathetic, he's non-confrontational, but she's refused that because she's used to the drama and the chaos that she's used to with her ex. So I don't know, we'll see how it plays out. Anyway, she stormed off, she pushed the cameras and stuff. I was like, oh, grow up, take responsibility for your actions. Anyway, I can't wait for tomorrow's episode. It seems like it's going to be spicy. I think Ridge is going to come out. The Ridge is going to come out and show Jack who's the man, because it seems like Jack is trying to flirt with Ridge's wife. But hey, that's for tomorrow. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 25. Bye guys.